Hi everyone, welcome to the CZ Armor channel. What we're going to do here today is something that we normally see the opposite process out there, including I have a video of converting a double action, single action CZ Shadow 2 into a single action only CZ Shadow 2. This time around, we're going to get one that is a single action only CZ Shadow 2. You can see there is a SA, a single action in this slide, and we're going to convert it to double action, single action. So this is a pretty much stock gun, has a cut for optics and some fancy grip panels, and the owner has changed the original trigger shoe as well. The original trigger shoe that comes in a single action only is that blue, slightly curved shoe. This one is flat, but that's about it in terms of changes, modifications, this gun. So we're going to see how to convert this from a single action. You see this does not work in double. Nothing happens here. It resets. Pretty nice short reset, and then works single action only. We're going to see how to convert this from this to this. A double action trigger, double action, single action trigger. All right, let's get to it then. So before anything else, let's understand what this project is going to entail. What are you going to need? So in terms of parts, you're going to need to add a disconnector to the gun. As a single action only, this won't have a disconnector. It's completely absent on it, and you need this part to have the trigger functioning in double and single action. So this connector. There's also a video on my channel about everything that you need to know about this part, but for now you just need to know that you're going to need one of these. You're going to need a different hammer. So the original hammer on the single action only does not have the hole that needs to be there in order for the disconnector to be attached to the hammer. So disconnect the hammer, get attached this way, like so. And this second hole here is not present in a single action hammer. It's just the hole in the back for the hammer strut. So you need an OEM hammer from the double action, single action, which is this case here, or an aftermarket hammer that is designed for double and single. And you're also going to need a new trigger shoe. Like that flat trigger is basically designed for single action only, so it has a different geometry within these holes here, and you position the trigger shoe in a way that it will simply not work, not fit for double action. So you're going to need a new trigger shoe as well. This could be the original OEM trigger shoe from the CZ Shadow 2, or an aftermarket trigger shoe, as long like this one, as long as it is designed for double action and single action. So in terms of parts, this is all I can anticipate you're going to need here. When it comes to tools, you can check the videos that I posted about assembly, disassembly, the Shadow 2. You're going to see all the list of tools that you need there. I'm not going to go over in this video. Try to make these as short as possible. So without further ado, let's get to it. So first thing I'm going to do is break down, get the slide separate from the frame. So put this up. Put a plastic punch here. Get this off, and this slide will come apart from the frame. We're not going to do anything to this slide. This is just a regular slide. Well, I see they had a different recoil system here too. Interesting. Well, nothing to do with what we're going to do here. We don't need any of that. So everything that we're going to do in this project is going to be on the frame. So we're going to need to take it apart, take the C acacia out, the trigger bar, trigger shoe, everything's, the hammer, everything is going to come out. So first thing I'm going to do here to make this whole work a lot easier is just remove the mainspring first. So for that, I need to remove the trigger panels, the grip panels. So I'm going to use a Torx T20 here. Get this out. Get this one out. This one also has a nice magwell here. Original CZ, looks like original magwell for the Shadow 2. I'm going to remove this too. This is a Allen wrench here. I believe a 3mm Allen wrench. Let me see. Yep. Loose this up. Come off. Magwell is out. And now we go to the traditional disassembly of a Shadow 2. Single action or double action, they're exactly the same. So what I'm gonna get here is a 564 punch. Pull this pin on the top out so I can get my mag brake out. Mag brake comes out. Next, it's going to be the spring cup. But compress the spring cup with my thumb and push the pin out. There we go. Turns out it's a little bit harder, probably as a result of the Cerakote on top of it. So I'll get the spring cup and the main spring out. Put that aside. Next, I'm going to remove this sear cage or the ejector. For that, I'm gonna need a little flat screw. Raise that sear spring. Again, don't know if I should apologize for that. Like I explained, it is on the. I have a video explaining how to disassemble and reassemble a CZ Shadow 2. So go for that video for details. But basically, what I'm doing here is just removing the ejector. To do that, I need to push the sear out, the safety out. There we go. Safety comes off. Then the ejector or the sear cage is going to come out right after it. That's exactly the same sear cage as the double action, single action one. So when we need to do any change here, this is not the same sear cage, the same ejector as the Tactical Sports Series family on the CZ lineup. The Tactical Sports Series has a different. It's also a single action only gun, but it has a different ejector. So this or sear cage. This is the same as the original Shadow 2, so no modifications are needed here. But as we can already see here, this hammer is different. Let me get this hammer out so you see why we needed that different hammer. Get that counter pin, hammer counter pin. It won't come out. See, I forgot something important here. I need to remove the tent first. Get the safety tent on the left side. That's the one compressed with the spring. Get it out of the way. And get the safety detent on the other side as well, which makes the safety come off as well. So safety comes out, and the tent comes out. Now I can remove the hammer. Counter pin comes out. Careful not to lose this. This is a really small pin that goes in the side of the hammer pin. Make sure it doesn't move. Now the hammer pin is going to move freely, and the hammer will come out with the strut, the hammer strut. So you can tell this is a single action only hammer. It has only one hole. See, 2 holes versus 1. 2 holes, double action, single action. 1 hole, single action only. So I'm gonna reuse this hammer strut, but that's all. I need now to remove the trigger bar because that trigger shoe is gonna go away. Okay, let's get the trigger bar out. Get this on my gunsmith block here, my special block. 2x4 piece of wood. Works just fine. Get a 1/32 or a 564 pin punch. Put it here. I'm gonna clip that trigger return spring so it doesn't fly away. And this goes in here. Get my hammer. And it's out. Trigger pin out. I can take this off now and my spring is saved. It's not gonna fly. Perfect. Okay, looks like the trigger bar is gonna come off now. Go, trigger bar is out. Same thing, that shoe, the trigger shoe, only for the geometry between these holes is different. Don't know if you can tell in the video, but the angle and the geometry between the trigger shoe, the lever and the holes is very different than those 2 triggers. This is for double action, single action, that's a single action only. So I'm gonna remove this, replace that with my double action and put the trigger bar back. So punch goes out. This trigger shoe goes away. get the double action one. Perfect. I'm gonna put the trigger bar back in the gun. I need to get my trigger turn spring first. As soon as I find where I put it, right here. I'm gonna get the trigger turn spring, the trigger bar, and then trigger bar back in the gun. All right. Trigger turn spring. Longer leg go outside, shorter leg go inside the trigger shoe. Put this in the way that match here. Get my slave pin on. Slave pin in. Oops. There you go. Now I got my trigger bar assembly back together, and it goes like so into the gun, back into the gun. Here now I need to line up the holes and put the trigger pin back, replacing the slave pin. So I want to make sure this is lined up. If I'm confident, I have 100% certain, I'm 100% certain that the pins out, the hole in the pin is lined up and everything, I can do this directly with the trigger pin. But if you don't know, if you don't feel confident about it, just, you know, you should clip your trigger pin spring again and maybe use a punch to replace the slave pin first. So that's good. Slave pin comes out, everything is in place. Great. Push that pin a little bit more until it gets in. Perfect. All right, I got the double action trigger already in place. Now let's play with the hammer. All right, I'm gonna reuse the hammer strut, so this comes off, and I'm gonna get actually I have a hammer that is already attached to a disconnector, but basically this disconnector would go here, and a pin goes through this hole to keep the disconnector attached to the hammer. That's all it is. So I already had a pair of hammer disconnector connected, so it's gonna be connected to this hammer strut again. So this comes off, goes this way, line up here. These pins don't need to be hammered or anything. Not if you're not using anything aftermarket. The aftermarket hammer and strut and all this connector, they need to be kind of the pins need to be hammered in. This here is really just, let me see, make sure the speed is going through. Yeah, it is. It's just a matter of lining up everything correctly, and it should work just fine. There we go. Hammer strut, disconnector, everything together. This goes back in the gun. Got my hammer pin just somewhere here. There we go. Hammer pin. Push it in place. All right. We're gonna get now the ejector, safety, and the mainspring, and this will be good to go. So gonna get the safety in place. So first the right side safety, get in, because this helps positioning the trigger bar in the right way here. So triggers now I can pull without using the other hand to pushing it down, because the safety is doing that. Then we're gonna look into the right side detent. Make sure that safety doesn't go anywhere. Get that little detent on the right side here. Perfect. Then we're gonna put the counter pin A hammer pin counterpin is how I call this. I don't know if this is what CZ calls it. It's just a counterpin to make sure the hammer pin doesn't go anywhere. That's in. And now the right side detent, that's the one with the spring. The little one that has a spring on it. That goes into place there. Hold it all together, make sure that spring doesn't go anywhere. Done. And now we can get the ejector and the safety. I'm going to get the safety in to keep the ejector in place, or sear cage, ejector, sear cage, however you want to call it. I think CZ calls these the ejector, but you tell me in the comments if you found this, the OEM correct name is sear cage, but you know what I'm talking about. So that goes in to the other side. We push the safety on the right side out of the way, and it goes in. There we go. Safety is working. Trigger is working. Now it's just put everything back together. I'm going to get my mainspring. Pin back. Mag brake. Mag brake goes in. Little pin goes here. Keep the mag brake in place. Grip panels. Grip panel on the right side. One side. Other side. This one has that nice magwell. Put the magwell in. Got my 3mm Allen wrench here. Tie the magwell in. Slide goes back in. And now we got a double action. Got a double action, single action trigger. Yep, this is it. That's the full conversion. Now this is a, although it says single action only here in the slide, this is a double action, single action Shadow 2, just like the original one. Thank you for watching. I hope this has been useful for you.